Preparing to do another 200-mile drive to Brighton. I've actually not really driven the car since Monday night, when I had that failure of this. Well, it wasn't the hose, it was the clamp. That particular clamp down here. That one completely failed. Bear in mind, all of these are completely brand new. All of the hoses are new, and that clamp just down here, it was gone. You know, it completely disappeared. You could see the compression marks on the hose itself, and they were clearly visible where the clamp had been. So it's not like I'd forgotten to put it on, or indeed not tightened it up. If I'd not tightened it, it'd have been spraying out everywhere. I'm absolutely sure that just literally just fractured and blew off. Completely bizarre. So what I've done, I've bought a new cap. I was going to buy a new cap anyway, and in fact I already had the cap on order last weekend. I'd paid for it, I think, Sunday night on the internet, and I was just waiting for it to be delivered. And I suspect this cap might have failed. They have it's a pressure relief, has a spring on the inside, which you can press it. Let's have a look at the new one. Yeah, it's a little bit smoother. But obviously, when you drive a car, they get very, very hot, and pressure builds up inside the engine, inside the cooling system. Now, is that fitting? Let's have a look. Bastard, I hope so. Yes, it is. It's just stiff because it's new. Okay. Obviously, pressure builds up inside the cooling system, and when it does so, it builds up enough that it physically depresses. It depresses that spring, which has got a rubber sealing cap, and a little bit of the coolant and excess can spray down this particular pipe right here, and it goes under the wing and in there. You won't be able to see because it's dark, but literally under the wing there's a reservoir, and that pipe goes right into the bottom of the reservoir. So the water fires past the cap down that pipe into the reservoir under the ring. Then when it cools, it creates a vacuum which then sucks it back the other way, and it can obviously get topped back up again. Obviously, because the pipe, this overflow pipe, sits in the bottom. It goes right down to the bottom. If it was sitting at the top, it would just draw air back in. Because it goes to the bottom, it draws from the bottom as a vacuum. That's why. So the coolant goes out, then it comes back in again. Obviously, if this cap fails, and if, I don't know, let's say it's supposed to move, I don't even know what the pressure is, I can easily check, but let's say it's supposed to be 60 pounds. If it becomes stiff and starts moving at 80 pounds, you know, it's going to create massive pressure on the coolant hoses, and that really could be what's happened down here. So anyway, we've got a brand new cap, and I'm pretty sure that's a good fit. I was going to replace it anyway. I'd already ordered it, and it's actually arrived today. It's taken nearly a week to get here, so thankfully that's arrived. I do have an awful lot more parts for the car. I've just really not had time. I've been working so hard, so busy, and a lot's arrived for the car. And for about 2 or 3 weeks, I've had a beautiful 10mm set of ignition leads, because these are total rubbish. I'm sure that they're short in somewhere. There's a slight misfire on hard acceleration, which I don't really give it hard acceleration, but if I do I've got all these. This is a vacuum hose that's slightly perished. I've got new vacuum. I've got a new distributor cap. I've got what's this? This is the coolant temperature sensor. I've got a brand new one of those. I haven't bought a new thermo time sensor, simply because they're fiendishly expensive. Second hand, they're about £80. New, they're about 300. What the thermotime sensor does, I believe, when the engine's cold, that allows, so it depends. You could have ran it a little bit and it's slightly warm. So this thermotime sensor, I believe, gives a little bit of extra fuel for either 8 seconds, or if the engine's slightly warmer, maybe down to 4 or 3 seconds. But anyway, it just times when you're cranking the engine over, and just when it's just firing into life. I believe that's what that does. This one, the water temperature, that one, it senses whether the engine's hot or cold. And when the engine's cold, obviously it needs a little bit more automatic choke. That controls the ECU. Now, if they fail, it can be given the wrong signal to the ECU, so it might be registering that the engine's cold when in fact it's hot. If you turn it off and then get back in and try to restart it, the engine will simply fail to restart. This might be sensing that that the engine's cold, and it's actually putting extra fuel through, and it'll flood it'll flood the engine very, very quickly. And there's another sensor here. Now I do forget what that one is, and I haven't bought that one. I think, is that something to do with the a cold start? Forgive me, I can't remember what that is. But there's a lot of vacuum hoses. I've got a couple of meters of that. What else? I've got all sorts that I'm really going to go to town and you know, get stuck in and really finish off what I haven't. Oh yeah, obviously these cam covers have got to come off. I've got all new gaskets. It's going to be a lot of work. And to be truthful with you, I do expect in the next week or so, I think I've been saying it for weeks now, that I expect my business to be closed down yet again due to COVID-19. And if we do get closed down, I'll have plenty of time to spend on this car, so I won't be travelling anywhere, but we'll see. But the main thing is that I don't want to travel with this crappy old cap again, you know, so I've put the brand new one on, and fingers crossed that's going to cure the problem. We'll have no more blown hose clamps, because that was a potential disaster last week. Thankfully I got away with it. But I'm just about to set out on this 200-mile drive to Brighton, and fingers crossed we'll have no hassle today.